Hi, I'm Tom Donahue, your host for BROC Talk, Program Spotlight. Thanks for tuning in today. We have a great program to talk about going on right here in Rutland County. And we are happy to have on the set two gentlemen that head up this program for BROC Community Action. It's called the Micro Business Development Program. So stay tuned for great information about that. I know you'll find it very interesting. So on the show today to talk about all the details of the program are Adam Annunziata and Benton Winrich. Adam, Benton, welcome to the program. Glad to have you here today. And so at BROC Community Action, as people know, we do a number of things to help people in need in Vermont. And one of those things, we have an approach we take to what we call sort of alleviating poverty, moving people's lives forward, and we call it a two-pronged approach. So one is really helping people in crisis and through that need in their lives that has come up probably unexpectedly. And then the other side of that is that path forward for people, helping people with budgeting and job training, and in this case, starting their own business. One of the neat things about the Micro Business Development Program, MBDP is the acronym, MBDP, is that it really takes advantage of people's proclivities towards doing something well, natural proclivities, as well as just passions that they decide, hey, I'm really good at this and I want to start a business. And these are the two gentlemen at BROC Community Action to talk to about that. So with that, let me start with you, Adam, to just kind of, because you've been here with us just a little bit longer than Benton.
Just a touch.
Yeah, but what we talk about with this program and the niche it has is, for starters, it's Vermont's very small businesses. It's our smallest grouping of employees in a business.
That's correct, Tom.
So, less micro.
Exactly. So MBDP, it is a bit of a tongue twister. The micro business, when you think of a micro business, what we consider a micro business is a business with 5 or less employees. That includes the owners, right? So it's the smallest of the small. I also want to say I'm the Bennington County Business Counselor, and Benton is our Rutland Business Counselor. But we work together in tandem, helping people, like you said, find their way out of poverty. Yeah. Yep. We're that second prong that kind of pushes towards stabilization.
So I want to say to you guys, too, and to the public watching, that one of the things that I've been amazed with is that how many small, and I say small, the very small Vermont business,
the micro,
but how many of Vermont's smallest business people there are out there that really do want to start a small, lean business, maybe part-time and work into full-time or whatever, but that it is really a backbone of Vermont. I never knew until we really dove into this program and have brought it to the level that we have here in Vermont, in southwestern Vermont, in this case for BROC Community Action, how many actual of these very small Vermont businesses there are, and these new entrepreneurs out there that are starting very small Vermont businesses. It's amazing to me.
Absolutely.
And we're talking hundreds, and potentially if you were to document them all, it could be thousands, but hundreds for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
If you really look at it, you may not think about it, driving through your town, but even Rutland, for example, many of the businesses that you see on Main Street are actually micro businesses, and you really think that mom and pop shop maybe has that one or two employees. That's a micro business under this definition, and again, it really is a bedrock of Vermont business.
Exactly right, and I love the perspective you put it in, because if you do look around, it definitely fits that definition. So it meets our test there, and then the other test would be the percentage of is it average income, or in other words, we're basing it on, we help people of lower income get started out of lower income.
Right.
And I don't know what off the top of my head, I don't recall what the test is for that, but it's 80% of
That's correct. Yep.
average
to participate
income.
in our program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
80% of area median income.
Right.
Got it. Perfect.
which is generally pretty lenient. Again, it definitely allows an individual to have some resources to start that business, which is very helpful.
Perfect. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people start off, I just want to say,
please.
with, you might even call it a side hustle. It might just be something they do on the side that they then kind of choose to grow and expand upon to really make an income for themselves.
Exactly.
So, that's kind of, I don't want to say that's the heart of the program or the people that we help, but that is one way that a lot of people start. It's having that very small business that they just need a helping hand with, a hand with marketing or, products and service offerings, having a business plan, we harp on that a lot.
Absolutely.
Having a written plan is essential to your business, and we definitely help with that. And having the right insurances and risk management, those kinds of things. That's all stuff that we help with.
It's really nice to know, if you have that natural talent or passion for something and you want to turn it into even the beginning of a business with some part-time, like you said, the side job, that there is a resource out there at BROC Community Action with the Microbusiness Development Program, with you, Adam, and you, Benton, that there's a resource for them to go to and get that advice and a sounding board, because people really have a great idea, but they really don't know where to start. Good place to start is with you.
Absolutely. Some of the best entrepreneurs that we see are individuals who are experts in their craft, but they might not be experts in the field of business. And so when they come to see us, that is the perfect scenario, because we can't teach the cottage industry skills that build great Vermont businesses, but we can help them to develop a business plan to create a sustainable business model that leads to this long-term business success.
Right, perfectly put. And I love what you said, and I was thinking about the sustainable business model, that model might be that it starts out part-time, maybe that it remains part-time, and then, or it tends to grow. So I can't, because we're on Community Access Television, I can't mention a specific business, but I want to say that when I was up in the legislature testifying before the Senate Commerce Committee, there was an individual who started their micro business in Burlington as a lower income, qualifying, income man in this case, that had a passion for making beer, and a really good beer, and without naming names, grew that business from his startup to 30 employees and $1 million payroll, at which time he transferred and sold the company over to the employees. It was an employee-owned company. Can you imagine? Yeah, so there's always that potential out there that that it could remain part-time, and that's okay, or it could grow into a real big business. And if that's what their desire is, it has that possibility, is demonstrated by this person who is also testifying to the legislature about the success of the Microbusiness Development Program.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was quite a testimony to hear. And I was happy to say I went before him in testimony, and I was so happy because I didn't want to follow that act. Yeah, it was good, believe me. And I said, oh gosh, I'm glad I went first.
Yeah, and it's definitely about keying in on this potential and giving that potential the ability to be fostered towards growth. And that's really what I think the crux of our program is about, is giving these entrepreneurs just a little bit of extra help, because I think everybody can use it, but certainly these individuals, and allowing that to again become the next widely known Vermont business.
Right, exactly. Well, and I want to point out that your services are free under our program at BROC Community Action, so they're not actually being billed for this service. That if you qualify under our criteria, these are there to help you get started, and there is no fee, which is really important, because that's another stumbling block for people, and we're trying to reduce barriers.
Absolutely.
And start businesses. Now, you've started dozens, I know for a fact, and I think it's kind of interesting that some businesses remain virtual, while others are what they call brick and mortar, so they open a storefront. I know you've had a little mixed bag of both of those.
Right, for sure.
And have you found that the folks that you're assisting have been more likely to be able to start up than not? And I ask that because I know sometimes in the process, it's also good to determine if they're not ready to start a business. And that's also very
Right.
helpful because you don't want them to start and fail.
Right. So typically what we do is we start off with doing a feasibility study.
Okay.
You know, we kind of run through the idea itself,
Okay.
you know, see if it's very general, but we kind of see and develop the idea to a point where is this going to fit in the marketplace? Is this something that,
Awesome.
you know, is the service something people are going to want? Is the product,
Yes.
you know, something
Perfect.
that people are going to want? So we start there and, you know, then kind of work our way into really the education of business ownership. Right, so we kind of give a stable, steady base. So you kind of come to the understanding of how to market, you know, how to do a cash flow, you know, how money's going to come in and out, which of course is one of the most important points. You don't want to be, you know, running the negatives, you know, based on a assumed amount of sales. So that's kind of where we start is with feasibility, you know, and then kind of like we mentioned a little bit earlier, it's also things like sustainability. You know, we might not look at getting a big loan to start the business because, you know, you don't want to end up in a worse place than where you started off. You know, obviously there's a risk reward thing, you know, and starting a business can be risky, but we try and mitigate that risk as, you know, as best as we can and really bootstrap and just use whatever resource we can get to.
Yeah. And I think I'm assuming that because of connectivity these days, because of the internet and cell phones, smartphones, and so forth, it probably is more feasible for a lot of businesses to start up in some manner that takes advantage of the internet than it used to be when your only choice really was bricks and mortar.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if you look at the advent of the internet and e-commerce, you know, more Americans every year are shopping online. And so businesses that may have not been viable, you know, 20, 25 years ago, given, you know, people's lack of ability to shop online or find them, are now having much more viable business plans just because you have so many more customers potentially
Yes.
online as you maybe in your small Vermont town.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Being online eliminates that overhead, you know, rent payment that you might need for a brick and mortar location,
Yeah,
you know, so it's a little bit of an easier entryway into the market.
exactly. And speaking of market, great segue. I know that one of the little test things in the past sort of is to try out your business has been something like farmers markets, to establish yourself at a farmers market.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, you know, starting to sell your product at a farmer's market is a great way. You get immediate face-to-face interaction with your customer, the people that are gonna, you know, if you have a
Right.
product, you know, you can get feedback, you know, instantaneously right there, and you know that can give you a real good feel that if people are they really want your products, whatever they may be.
Yeah, love it, and that's so Vermont too. I just absolutely
Absolutely.
love
Yeah,
Yeah.
no better way to kind of build your brand there, especially as a Vermont business, than at a farmer's market. And you know, like you were saying, with you know starting small, you know the farmer's market only happens a few days a week sometimes. So for somebody who's maybe not looking to commit to something full time, and you know is still looking to see if that business has some potential growth, the farmer's market is you know one of the perfect ways for them to, like Adam was saying, test that out and see what its potential for growth. And maybe they see that it is something that is better suited as a part-time business. And again, their best route towards economic prosperity is having that part-time business as well as having some other form of earned income.
Well, and I recall too, without naming names, an artist that I knew previously who went into started out part-time and then kept it part-time for a very long time, actually, because this person had a full-time job that was gainful, and but ultimately goal was, you know, become a full-time artist. And I recall that person saying to me, you know, my only concern is, will I still have the passion for it once it's my job? You know, but I think those are all the things that you learn in ramping it up from part-time to full-time versus just diving right in. But regardless, whatever their desire is, you know, you start with them there. You meet them where they want to be. If they just want to start a business and be full-time, that's good too.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to just remind those watching, thank you for tuning into PEG TV, the tremendous community access station we have right here in Rutland County that we're so proud of. And we're with BROC Community Action. I'm Tom Donahue, CEO and host of BROC Talk Program Spotlight. And today we're talking about a program we have, which is one of our Path Forward programs called Micro Business Development Program, MBDP. There's a website associated with that that's been created through the 5 agencies that do this work statewide. We're one of the 5. And that is mbdp.org, mbdp.org. Or you can always find us, of course, and more information about our business counselors, Adam Annunziata and Benton Winrich, at broc.org, B-R-O-C, broc.org. And with that, I want to take, and we're kind of into the second portion of the show, and I want to just take a minute because we have come through a couple of thick years of pandemic, a languishing pandemic that nobody can stop talking about because it never wants to seem to go away completely.
Right.
And we're almost into year 3 since we started with our protocols at BROC Community Action in the office. But during that time, we had a program that was nicknamed Embrace. It was an acronym that was basically $5,000, almost like an emergency grant, not a loan, but a grant to micro businesses. And I'm very proud of that and proud of the work that you both did on it because we really helped bridge hundreds of micro businesses statewide, working with our 4 other agency partners, with these grants that, as I put it into perspective, a $5,000 grant for a micro business is like a $50,000 grant for a small business. You know, everything's relative.
Right.
And so these grants were so important to get people through to the other side, in many cases, that bridge through the pandemic, because a lot of businesses saw such a decline in volume in their business and in profits and so forth. So I'm very proud of the Embrace program and that you headed up statewide and right here in Rutland that provided hundreds of these micro business grants. That was, in the wisdom of the legislature, they earmarked CARES fund as well as the American Rescue Plan Act funds, ARPA.
Yep.
To make sure that this was not a forgotten segment of Vermonters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so, you know, you've just finished the final report on that. In the last round, you helped 471 businesses with these micro business grants.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. And it's so, and I want to mention that only because this was part of that pandemic response to relief and recovery. That we worried about people, feeding them, heating them, etc. We worried about businesses making it to the other side of this so that they can continue to flourish.
Absolutely. Yep. So 471 businesses statewide received the Embrace grant in the 3rd round, over $2.3 million to these businesses. A lot of excellent responses from people, you know, just us meeting that need. A lot of people said they might not have made it through the pandemic without this assistance. And, you know, when providing the assistance, we kind of influenced people to make an investment in their business that would produce well for the long term. So it wasn't necessarily
I love that.
Just getting through. It was getting through and then thriving on the other side. So a lot of equipment purchases, which, you know, to a small micro business, like you said, $5,000 in equipment, you know, that might enable them to do a certain level of job, you know, in a new way. Maybe they could hire an employee, you know. So it was really a great response, and, you know, we feel good about getting the money out there and have seen a very positive response from the funds being distributed.
Well, it's fantastic work, and I want to applaud you for it, and we're very proud to be part of it at BROC Community Action and have that pandemic response to micro business, so that we're helping people in
Right.
maybe their highest level of need. Hopefully, we'll never do this again.
Hopefully.
And we're still not completely out of the woods, as we know. But
Right, and a lot, I just want to say
Yeah,
too,
please.
is another really important reason for Embrace is that there was a lot of grants and funding available to small businesses. However, a lot of our business owners were outside of those thresholds, so they wouldn't qualify for these other grants.
yes,
And, we, again, just met that need where we needed to.
awesome. Totally couldn't agree more how critical and important that was. So in the last few minutes that we have, I wanted to talk about, well, we're on community access television, so we don't promote businesses specifically and talk names, but I think it would be fun to talk a little bit about, one of my favorite things about MBDP is hearing about some of the types of businesses and some of their products. Without naming the business, we can talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I was been always just amazed at the creativity and the entrepreneurial spirit of some of these Vermont men and women, and that are starting these micro businesses up and going about their business every day,
Right.
sort of under the radar almost.
Yeah,
that
for sure.
Yeah. Let me bring one up that I think was going. No, there for instance, I know Benton. I think you worked with a medium.
Yeah.
How cool is that? I mean,
No,
just-
it's
yeah.
that's part of the joys of working here every day, is that you just get to work with so many different types of businesses, and again, anywhere from general retail to services, and kind of everything in between. We talked a little bit earlier about how the farmers market is one of the best places for micro businesses to start and grow, and so again, anything from products that fit, again, that Vermont product demographic, as
Yes,
well as
okay.
many different services that are needed around the area are provided by micro businesses.
Because you've done contractors, you've done artists,
Yep.
and you've done, like you said, retail.
Absolutely.
So it is all types. It's whatever someone's really good at. Their skill might be with their hands, or their skill might be with their mind, or both.
Yeah,
It doesn't
absolutely.
matter. It's whatever their skill is that they want to turn into a business, or their passion that they, or
For sure.
some natural tendency they have to do something well.
absolutely.
You
Right.
know, they're going to turn it into something they can actually earn some money with.
No doubt.
And so when I look at the stories on, say, mbdp.org, and some of the entrepreneurs on there, having come from a background of economic development in this region, I just find it amazing and now rewarding, since it's being headed. This program is being headed up at BROC Community Action. Do you have one that you particularly liked?
I mean, there's been many.
Yeah.
And like it's been said, these people come to us and they're typically already an expert in their field, right? So I had an artist who, made her own art, but she opened up a space to give art lessons.
Okay.
Mostly to children. So,
Wow. Awesome.
unique,
Love it.
super unique offering.
Love it.
It was great to run through the business plan and just see that this is a definite need, and they're doing
Right.
well now, and
It's a niche.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But kids need stuff to do, especially in the wintertime.
Oh, awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Arts are important, very important
Yep.
for growth and all that kind of stuff. So, that was one that I remember and really enjoyed working with that person.
Awesome. Benton, do you have one that you particularly liked?
Yeah, I think one that comes to mind. So I was working with a woman whose skills laid in bookkeeping, and that was not only a skill that is, again, highly marketable to a number of businesses, as a professional service.
Right.
But on the back end, we've been able to actually utilize her for other micro businesses who we've brought through the process who've needed bookkeeping services.
Beautiful.
So
Love it.
not only were we able to help her start this business, but she's been such a resource for us, as well as other businesses have come to us asking if we know of any bookkeepers, and we have one right in our back pocket who we've worked with and know as a reputable
love
business owner. So
Yeah, great.
things like that are really the stories that I love to tell.
Great story, and we're winding down, but love that you just also reminded me when you said that about the fact that you have also created a network and done that well through the other website besides BROC.org is mbdp.org, and have a lot of online tutorials that you've put on the website that are also on BROC.org, and are holding these tutorials, whether it's something they need to know about doing their taxes or something about marketing. I love that, and I love the networking, especially through the pandemic when networking was sometimes taking place online through,
Right.
Through your online program at work.
Yep.
And also that it's gotten to the point where you actually created a newsletter called the Weekly Deep Dive, and Adam, I know you had that up,
Yep.
which you put out to this network that is very informative. I read it every week. I share it with my colleagues because it tells everybody what's going on in the microbusiness world and what opportunities are out there for them to be aware of, and what classes are coming up that they can click on, register,
Yep.
and participate in. I can't describe to you how valuable that is.
Oh,
And
for
again,
sure.
I speak from a place of experience. This was a big part of my career. and it is taking advantage of all of the latest technology and making it easy for people, because people's lives are busy and complicated now.
Right.
And so having that weekly deep dive out to the network each week
Definitely.
to keep them informed and connected is tremendous work.
Yep. And if you'd like to sign up for that newsletter, you can go to mbdp.org. If you scroll down to the bottom, it says subscribe to our newsletter. Put in your email address, and you'll receive
Perfect.
it every Thursday.
Perfect.
And it's chock full of free classes. And,
Yes. Love
again,
it.
because of technology, you can take a class from any one of the community action agencies.
Perfect.
So it won't just be me and Ben. We like to get, special guests in who are experts in their field, and, have them kind of lead the class. Always full of excellent content and educational material.
Perfect. And it's that easy to sign up for. And I do love that you pointed out that you're partnering with our colleagues around the state so that it is all of a compilation in this weekly deep dive representing all of the programs that are available, that are happening throughout that week or that month for free.
Yep.
Which is, thank you for saying that, because costs and everything is going up these days. It's getting harder and harder for people. So rather than put on another burden on and another fee and another cost, providing it for free is
Right.
great timing in post-pandemic and now inflationary times. Free is good. So,
Absolutely.
so I'm just going to wrap up now because we're already out of time here at PEG TV. I want to thank PEG TV for putting us on the air today, and Chelsea Tice, our channel coordinator extraordinaire, and also thank Shelley Ferris, who heads up this department that does a lot of the budgeting and counseling that goes along with all of this. She does a fantastic job at BROC Community Action. I want to thank you for tuning in today. This is BROC Talk Program Spotlight. Today we had microbusiness development business counselors Adam Annunziata and Benton Winrich as our guests. And you can reach them right at BROC Community Action. So their numbers are on the graphics on the screen if you want to call them directly, or just go to broc.org and learn all about the program there with a click. But if you are one of those future entrepreneurs and thinking about starting your own business, full-time, part-time, or some other version, very part-time even, these are the gentlemen to talk to in Rutland and Bennington counties. We're happy to have them as our experts in the field at BROC Community Action. So with that, we're going to wrap up. I want to thank my guests. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Benton.
Thanks for
Thanks
having
for
me.
Appreciate
having
all your
us.
hard work and coming on Program Spotlight today. And want to thank
Absolutely.
you.
Anytime.
Thank you for watching BROC Talk Program Spotlight. I'm Tom Donahue, your host. Look forward to seeing you again soon.